I take my cue from him. He was not a guy that was very talkative in the morning. I was wrong in that instance for not showing up to work. Maybe that was the final straw. Maybe that was the coup de grace that they used to say, okay, we want to move on without Shannon Sharpe, whatever the case may be.
People are like, but shit that.
So it looks like we got a huge update from Shannon Sharpe about what actually went down between him and Skip Bayless that resulted in him leaving Undisputed. And I think this is very significant because it's the very first time you actually see from Shannon Sharpe's mouth what caused him to leave Undisputed. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we got all that out of the way, my friends, we had a
legendary weekend on Prize Picks.
Your boy personally made $700, and I only missed 2 out of 11 of my picks. And you guys hit me up in the DMs and let me know about it. We're about to ramp it up for this week. Remember, you get a $100 deposit match on Prize Picks when you use my promo code Mikerophone, and I post my picks onto my Instagram story at The Flight Mike for free each and every day that there's a football game. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mike, check 1, 2, 1, 2. What's going on, everybody? So we've made a lot of videos on the Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe breakup over the past year. I mean, we've been following it since what happened with the Damar Hamlin incident in January, and it's really been a riveting storyline to follow. The original theory that many of us had was Shannon Sharpe felt very disrespected by the way Skip Bayless was treating him, and as a result, he left. And of course, in June, he agreed to a buyout with Undisputed, and about 2.5 months later, he made his debut on First Take, partnering with another Skip Bayless protege, Stephen A. Smith. And originally, the theory was that there was just a series of interviews that just led to Shannon Sharpe deciding that I've been disrespected enough, and then he's gonna head out. Such as the famous Tom Brady interview that Shannon Sharpe actually reacted to this time on Stephen A. Smith's podcast. Watch.
This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he is still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
That's what you do.
That's the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No,
Skip, I did what I did.
never said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Skip, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got
so
3 Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you.
Better.
Skip, what I got to see what you do. You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal
Put your
shot.
glasses back on.
So I have to give props to Stephen A. Smith. He asked the question that we all wanted to know, because at this point you've seen that clip on this channel multiple times. I've cited it as the first iceberg that really hit Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless's relationship, because that was the very first time that Skip Bayless really disrespected Shannon Sharpe, if we're being honest. I could understand what Skip was trying to do there. I mean, at the end of the day, riling up your opponent, causing him to scream at you, yelling at each other, going a little bit too far is what results in that video hitting social media, getting retweets, and generating additional impressions on your show. But how did that affect their relationship? Well, Shannon Sharpe says it here.
A lot of that is my fault, because there were times that led up to that I felt that shots were taken and I let it go. And I should have said something then, but I didn't. And I would bring it to people's attention and they brushed it up under the rug. So that was my fault that it got to that point and he felt that he could go over the top in that situation. I think in any relationship where there's host, co-host, it's boyfriend, girlfriend, it's husband, wife, whatever the relationship is, once one partner has no respect for the other partner then in turn loses respect for said part. Then I think it's only a matter of time.
So what Shannon Sharpe is implying is Skip Bayless was enabled by the fact that Shannon Sharpe didn't stand up for himself, telling him that, hey, you shouldn't go that far and disrespect what I did on the field. Which, by the way, I could understand why that was so easy for Skip Bayless to do. He's never played in the NFL. He doesn't understand how difficult it is, how grueling it is. And again, Shannon Sharpe's longevity at his position during his era is a remarkable feat, considering the fact that he was a 7th round pick in the NFL draft, played 9 seasons with the Denver Broncos, won 3 Super Bowls throughout his career, including in his twilight year with the Baltimore Ravens, got 5 All-Pro selections, made it to 8 Pro Bowls. I mean, he's considered one of the greatest tight ends of all time for a reason. He also gave us a bit of an insight to how the the show was set up between him and Skip Bayless. And what I originally thought is these two were best buds because, come on, man. I mean, Shannon Sharpe's career wasn't riding that high in 2016 when Skip Bayless left ESPN to make a show with Shannon Sharpe. Yeah, he had his appearances on CBS, but he didn't necessarily have the stature that he currently has. And Skip Bayless gave him a platform to create that persona, to create that brand for himself. And you would think that there would be some strategizing. I mean, based upon some of the arguments that these two had, I will admit, a lot of times I thought that it was manufactured for clicks or manufactured for views. And these two were just legendary at leveraging drama in order to generate more viewership for their show. That's how they became the top daily sports show with the most trends on YouTube. But it seemed like that wasn't the case. It was all natural. And Shannon Sharpe even said it here.
Skip would get to work, I would get to work. I was in my dressing room, he was in his dressing room. It was really like a heavyweight fight. We barely talked.
So these two wouldn't talk to one another. I mean, Skip Bayless would be coming in, actually trying to eviscerate Shannon Sharpe in these debates. And they wouldn't really talk to one another.
Honest to God, we might say hello. We go to the bathroom. If we're passing each other in the bathroom, hello, that was it. It was not a carry on a conversation. It was very little communication.
Why was that the case?
Well, I take my cue from him. He was not a guy that was very talkative in the morning. During the breaks, he would get up and leave.
It seemed like Shannon Sharpe just had tremendous respect for Skip Bayless because of the opportunity that was given to him.
After a couple of times of seeing that, I'm seeing that he's in a mode, he's in a zone in which he doesn't want to be bothered. He's treating this like an actual game. In 7 years, Skip and I went to, I think we had brunch once. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't think Skip's a bad guy. I didn't develop the type of work relationship with him because I didn't get the sense that's what he wanted.
I can't believe that in their entire 6-year tenure with each other, they had brunch with each other once. That's nuts to me. I honestly can't believe that. Stephen A. would also ask what happened in the Damar Hamlin situation. If you guys remember, Shannon Sharpe wouldn't agree with what Skip Bayless tweeted in regards to Damar Hamlin and would no-show the show, saying that it struck him a little bit close to home considering the fact that he watched his brother Sterling Sharpe get laid out that way and he wasn't able to get up before Skip Bayless would cut him off mid-monologue.
And although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip would take it down, but I didn't want it.
Well, time out. I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me finish.
All right, okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead, let's go, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot even get through a monologue without you interrupting me.
Well,
you could have came back, Skip.
Well, I thought
Skip, just let.
I didn't know you were going to bring up.
No, I was just going to say, Skip. I didn't want to yesterday to get into a situation where Damar Hamlin was the issue. We should have been talking about him and not get into your tweet. That's what I was going to do. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting.
Okay. I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No. Clearly, the bosses wanted you to offer explanations, so clearly somebody...
No, they did not have... Nobody...
Let's go, Jen.
What's interesting looking back at that clip is you could really see that they didn't discuss anything behind the scenes. I mean, it was very obvious, and I didn't even think of this at the time, that these two didn't have a conversation about Shannon Sharpe no-showing. It was all done on air, and Shannon Sharpe gives us insight on Stephen A. Smith's show here.
Even though he opened the show the day that I wasn't there, saying his bosses wanted him to offer an explanation. And when I said the bosses had a problem with what you said, he simply said they did not. When he had clearly said to himself that the bosses had a problem with what he said and he needed to clarify. I agree with you. Probably if I could go back and do one thing differently, there are a couple of things. That situation, I definitely would not have, I definitely should have reported. I'm sure they held that against me, but
report it to work. Report it to work.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I should have gone in there and sat down and not, if I show up to work, I'm gonna work. It's not like I'm gonna sit there and hold in while I'm there. No, I would have absolutely done my job, and that's probably one of the moments in my tenure that I'm least proud of, that I didn't show up, because on all the other jobs I've ever had, I've never not shown up for work. And for me not to show up for work, I should have. And I was wrong in that situation.
Probably the biggest revelation of this of all was we thought Shannon Sharpe left. Shannon Sharpe didn't leave, apparently. Shannon Sharpe is at least implying here that he was fired. Watch.
Maybe that was the final straw. Maybe that was the coup de grace that they used to say, okay, we want to move on without Shannon Sharpe. Whatever the case may be, I was wrong in that instance for not showing up to work.
Which is so insane to me. I mean, at a specific point, people are saying that Skip Bayless is amazing at creating these shows, but Shannon Sharpe is next up. And he clearly is capable of carrying a show by himself. I mean, there's a reason why his podcast is doing the numbers that it is. So this was very eye-opening to me, because I personally thought that Shannon Sharpe left because he felt disrespected. It seemed like it wasn't that case at all whatsoever. He was bought out and Fox wanted to move on, which explains why Shannon Sharpe is taking this very personally. Because Shannon Sharpe said even if he was the host of First Take, in case that Stephen A. Smith would leave, the show would still beat out Skip Bayless and Undisputed in ratings. You all know I'm that dude, I'm him. Now, last Monday's episode of First Take had more than 4 times the ratings of Undisputed, and he said, if Stephen A. says, Shannon, I want to go in a different direction, you are still not going to beat us, because Stephen A. is that dude. If Stephen A. decides to leave and turn the reins over to me, you all know I'm that dude, I'm him. Now the problem y'all got is you got 2 hims to go up against. So clearly Shannon Sharpe is taking this very, very seriously. I honestly think all of these individuals involved are legends. I feel like Skip Bayless could have handled this situation a little bit better, but I feel like for him, what actually went down is it was a game to him. How could he get the best rise out of Shannon Sharpe? How could he generate the most impressions and clicks for his show to remain at the top of the charts or to be one of the top shows in sports debate? I also think it's kind of weird that Stephen A. Smith is consistently taking this angle of
I will never disrespect you, and you have been disrespected,
when he recently has been caught trashing his ex-partner Max Kellerman. Now, here's the thing that kind of bugs me about that. And again, respect to Stephen A., respect to Skip Bayless, respect to Shannon Sharpe, because at the end of the day, all these individuals have had an influence on me and the way I do my show on this channel. But First Take was still doing well with Max Kellerman at the helm. And then you have Stephen A. Smith saying this.
I didn't like working with him, man. It's just that damn simple. I didn't like it. I thought the show was stale. I thought that we had flatlined when it came to the public at large, and I'm trying to win. I mean, but you weren't an athlete and you weren't a journalist. Left people wondering, why should we listen to you? It was all business to me, and it was about, look, man, I'm trying to win, and I don't believe I can win with you.
At the end of the day, I just think it's very interesting that things shook out this way. Obviously, this is paying off wonders for Stephen A. Smith. Featuring Shannon Sharpe on his podcast is causing it to grow tremendously as well. Shannon Sharpe has a new home at ESPN. His workload is significantly less. Fans still love seeing him go up against Stephen A. Smith, and it's hilarious when he decides to call Stephen A. Smith.
Yes, because if you think about it, the Lions were picked to win that division, Skip.
You know what, okay. You know what, Skip? Skip, it's okay.
Because here's the thing, Skip.
Steve, bang! It's all right. It's okay, my man. It's all right. 7 years, bro.
At the end of the day, I feel like Skip and Shannon were awesome together. It's still an adjustment for me to get used to Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith, but these are all legends, and I'm very, very confident that their shows are going to do well just the way it is. But I can understand why Shannon Sharpe decided to leave, and I give him props for him holding himself accountable. We have a full-length video on what Stephen A. Smith said about Max Kellerman on Flight Mike. We'll leave that in the end screen for you to check out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.